Okay, for our second notes video today, we're going to be working on Chapter 8, Lesson 2, so please turn to page 598. We're going to write equations and represent solutions with pictures, words, and an equation. Okay, so let's look at our first scenario. It says write an equation for each real-world problem. It says a orange and a cup of juice together are 210 calories. The orange is 90 calories. How many calories does the juice have? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and draw a picture for that. All right, so if we represent the total amount of calories, that's going to be 210. And we know that part of that is the piece of fruit, the orange, and part of it is the juice. It tells us that the orange is 90 calories, but it doesn't tell us how much the juice is. So that's where we're going to use a variable. And J for juice. It could be X. It could be any letter that you want. Okay, so that's the picture. So if you'll look over here, they've already talked about an orange and a juice equals 210 calories. So they're going to choose the letter J for juice as well. It could have been C for calories. And the equation will be 90 plus J. 90 plus J is equal to 210. Okay, so let's look at a couple more examples. For number 2, it says Lake Arrowhead State Park has 3 less hiking trails than Irwin Park. Lake Arrowhead State Park has 5 hiking trails. How many trails does Lake Irwin Park have? So this is describing bigger, smaller difference. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my pen back on. And Irwin is bigger. Arrowhead Park is smaller. And they said that Arrowhead Park has 5 hiking trails, but you'd have to have 3 more to equal Irwin State Park. So this is what the picture would look like. So they wrote this equation. They said if Irwin Park minus 3 equals Lake Arrowhead, then E minus 3 equals 5. Okay. Now, down here it says 7 tickets to the Children's Museum of Brownsville cost $35. How much does 1 ticket cost? So the total amount spent is $35. And they bought 7 tickets, so you're going to draw 7 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We want to know how much 1 ticket costs. So we want to break 35 into 7 equal pieces. So you can do a couple different equations here, but what they have written, 7 tickets equals $35. So if they say T is the price of 1 ticket, so that's going to be 7 times 1 ticket price is equal to $35. We could have also written the equation $35 divided by T for ticket, scratch that, divided by 7 tickets equals T for the cost of 1 ticket. So there's a couple different ways of doing that, but that's one way. Okay, for this fourth example, it says ground beef is being divided into 4 hamburgers. Each hamburger is 6 ounces. So how much beef was there altogether? So we don't know how much beef there was. So we're going to go ahead and use, I'm going to use B for beef, but they actually used H for hamburger. Either way is fine. So if you have 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 hamburgers that each have 6 ounces. Okay, so it says, they said H divided by 4 equals 6. We could also use B divided by 4 equals 6. And it could also be written like this. We could actually say B divided by 4 equals 6 as well. So those are 4 different examples. Let's go ahead and try a couple on our own. Well, really, we're trying them together. Okay, so let's practice. it tells us that it wants us to define the variable, and that's give a letter to the missing amount that we don't know, and then we're going to write an equation for each situation. So let's read A. A checking account has a balance of negative $40. A deposit was made and the balance is now negative $25. What was the deposit amount? Okay, so I want you to assign a letter that represents the unknown amount that was deposited. Go ahead and answer that for me, please. Okay, so how about the letter D? If you said any other letter, doesn't matter, that's perfectly fine. So if we say D for deposit, this is what we know so far about the equation. D equals negative 25, but we don't know what operation, and we need to add what we started with. So if you deposit something in the bank, is that addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division? Answer that question for me. Okay, so that is actually addition. So when you put money in the bank, you're adding money to the bank, you're depositing money in the bank. The only other thing we need to write to complete this equation is how much we started off with. So I want you to go look back at the problem and tell me what amount was originally in the bank. Answer that for me. Okay, that is correct. The answer is we started out with negative $40. So negative $40 plus a deposit equals negative 25 is the equation we should write. Okay, so now we're going to read the second problem, and we're going to determine first what is the variable we're going to use. And so which letter, we're going to pick a letter, and then we're going to figure out if that letter is being added, subtracted, multiplied, or divided. Okay. So it says, when first planted, a cotton plant's roots grow about 3 inches per week. A cotton plant's roots are about 18 inches long. For how many weeks have they been growing? So we don't know how many weeks they've been growing. So what letter should we use for this unknown number? Go ahead and answer that for me. Okay, I chose W. If you chose X or anything else, that's fine. So if the letter W, something happens to the letter W and it's going to equal 18 inches. Okay, so if we go back into the problem, it says that the cotton plant's going to grow 3 inches per week. 3 inches, 3 inches, 3 inches. So if we are repeatedly having the number 3 over and over again, what operation would that be? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division? Answer that for me. Okay, the best answer is multiplication. So the equation should be 3 inches times an unknown number of weeks equals 18. Now, if you said addition, I understand where that came from, but basically, so we have 3 inches, 3 inches, 3 inches, 3 inches, 3 inches, 3 inches, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. So how many total weeks would that be? That would be 6 weeks. So 3 times 6 weeks equals 18 inches, and that would be the correct answer for that. Okay, for the next type of problems we're going to do, it's just solving the equation. They give us the equation, and we have to find out what the answer that the letter is equal to, and then it asks us to actually show that on a number line. And for an equation, there is only one true answer in an equation. Okay, so if you have x plus 7 equals 13, the only thing plus 7 that equals 13 is the number 6. So that's where the number 6 is on the number line, so that's the answer. And for number 6, it says negative 8 times w equals 32. So 8 times some number equals 32. We know that a negative has to be multiplied by a negative to equal a positive. So negative 8 times what negative number equals 32? And that, of course, is the answer, negative 4. So they've actually put negative 4 on the number line over here. So that's how you solve that problem. Okay, let's try a couple out on our own. We're going to figure out what the answer to the missing amounts, which are represented by letters, and then we're going to show them on a number line. Okay, so r minus 7 equals 10. Okay, so if we have a number and we subtract 7 from it, it equals 10. I want you to go ahead and tell me what that number would be. Okay, the only number that would make that true is 17. 17 minus 7 equals 10. I'm going to show that on a number line in just a moment. Okay, let's go ahead and solve this one. If we have the letter Z, an unknown amount, and we divide it by -9, and we get -9, then what was Z? Okay, so in order to have a negative answer, this Z has to be a positive number because positive divided by negatives equals negatives. So what number divided by -9 is going to equal -9? So go ahead and answer that for me. Okay, what number divided by 9 equals -9? That's going to be 81. 81 divided by -9 equals -9. Okay, and this is what they would look like on a number line. So if you have uh, something -7 equals 10, this is the 17, and 81 divided by -9 equals 9. This is what 81 looks like on a number line. Okay, so for the final question of this notes video, what is the most important thing to remember about this lesson?